You know,
You know,
we have done a lot of driving over the years, both as full-time RVers and part-time RVers before that.
yeah, it's been a lot, and I don't regret any of it.
We covered a great deal of the United States. We've been from Maryland to Alaska, from Maryland to Texas, Colorado, California. It goes on and on. You kind of get the gist of it. We've done a lot of driving.
We have, and we've seen some gorgeous, beautiful places, but the roads.
The roads, that's a whole nother story. And look, I am still waiting for the day where we no longer need roads.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
In this video, we are going to share with you guys the 5 worst highways for RVers.
These are places that we personally have been to and experienced the roads ourselves.
Absolutely, and you're going to want to stick around for number 1 because you're going to be surprised, or maybe you won't be surprised by number 1, but you might be surprised about our opinions.
Yes.
After once we get
How
there.
we feel about it, our experience.
That's
there.
right. We are Chris and Katrina, and welcome to our channel, Our Everyday Getaway. So let's get right into number 5 on the list, and that would be Interstate 10 in Louisiana. Now, why Louisiana?
Well, because Louisiana has stinky roads. That's why.
Nothing personal against you guys in Louisiana. We were staying at the Bayou Signette State Park, which is a fantastic state park, by the way, when we visited New Orleans. But we were coming back from Texas at the time, right?
Yes, we were.
And we were working our way out to Florida. That section of interstate left an impression on us.
The impression was not very good. Let's just say to this.
Good enough.
The potholes were crazy insane. The traffic was terrible. There was a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs. And
that was one of the sections of interstate throughout the country that was in sad disrepair. Now, that was a few years ago. Things may have changed, improved. I can't say that. I don't know. In all of our travels, I don't think we recalled a greater distance section of the interstate that was in really bad shape.
No, I think both of us were looking at each other quite often and like, when's it going to stop? Like you do like a bad section and you're like, okay, where's the good? No, it was a while.
Thankfully, it didn't last. Once we got past it, and we've never been on Interstate 10 farther out west. And we hope to drive on that one day. But so this was our section there in Louisiana. Now, coming in at number 4 is Highway 550 in Colorado, famously known as, what's it known for? Do you know?
I'm lost. No, tell me.
The $1 Million Highway.
Oh, that's right.
Just the $1 Million Highway. You guys know about the $1 Million Highway. There's a lot of talk. Now, when we first started getting into RVing, we came across a lot of information about the $1 Million Highway. Ooh, it's scary. It's a scary road.
Yes.
It's a bad road.
Don't take your rig on it.
Don't take your rig on it.
Yeah.
Although we didn't drive our RV on that road, we did travel the road.
We did. Maybe we cheated a little bit. I don't know about that. We took our Jeep. So we went from Ouray down to Silverton. And on the way down, it was wonderful because you're up against the mountain. But on the way back to Ouray, you are literally driving on a lot of gravel. It's paved, but gravel, and then there's no shoulder, so it's just a big steep drop off. And I'm telling you, that would make me so nervous if I was in the RV looking down.
It was a beautiful drive, without a doubt. It's one of the most beautiful scenic drives we've been on in our travels. But I will say this, though. There were trucks on the road. There were truck drivers on the road driving their rigs. There was also a couple RVs. One of them was a fifth wheel.
And it was a decent sized fifth wheel.
And I would say, now that I've been on the road and I'm familiar with the road, I'd be comfortable driving my Class A diesel pusher on the road without a tow.
Yes, I would be comfortable driving behind in the tow.
I think that would be the better way to go. And of course, I would also take into consideration the time of year you want to travel on the road. But the problem being is that, like Katrina said, there are sections of the road, there are no shoulder.
At all.
And God forbid you had a blowout. I mean, you're in deep trouble. Trouble. That being said, it's still a beautiful road, and I do think it's possible, especially if you have like a 25-foot Class C, you'll be fine. But
absolutely,
it's one of those roads that RVers are aware of, or they tell you be mindful of, because it could be
and an issue. It's another white knuckle type situation, and you certainly don't want to get caught in there in bad weather, whether it be downpour of rain, ice, wind, snow, anything like that. Got to watch it.
So number 3 and would be Interstate 70 west of Denver. Now, we'll never forget this because when we rented an RV for the first time many years ago, we had to take that interstate to get to our destination in Utah.
Yeah, we just looked at a map. We didn't know much about anything, and we didn't really think about the grades or whatnot. We're like, oh, look, this is the best route to get us directly there. Let's go this way.
Yeah, we had a 38, 39 foot Class A gasser, which actually had a grade brake included in it. And we were just coming out of a Walmart where we spent the night. Yes. It was still dark. Being on an interstate or any road that you're unfamiliar with in the dark is a problem. Because as a driver, you're used to, you want to see the road so you can anticipate what's coming up ahead. Well, that was the first mistake we made.
That was. And the second mistake was being awake during this whole thing. I should have been sleeping. So we had my brother-in-law was with us for that trip. Chris and him were up in the front seats. I hear Chris saying to Perry, his brother, talk to me, brother.
Talk to me, bro.
And I'm like, what's that supposed to mean? So now I'm all concerned. So I say, what's going on and everything? Of course, Perry instantly says to me, Katrina, go back, lay down, close your eyes, shut your eyes. It'll all be fine. Well, I knew right there we were in for trouble.
There was some steep grades on that road as well. So much so that the transmission overheated and we pulled over and let it cool down for a bit. It's one of those white knuckle experiences. If you guys are new to RVing and driving a big rig, if you're going to travel on that road, do so when it's broad daylight and you can see what's coming up and you're not around a bunch of vehicles who know where they're going in the dark. But it was still a fantastic experience, but it was a white knuckle, nervous experience nonetheless.
Totally agree.
It's one of those things you need to be mindful of. Also, it's happened before in the past. Those steep grades, some trucks have lost their brakes and have caused issues and problems, including hitting the runoff ramps.
Yeah.
There was a bad incident some years ago with a truck driver who got his truck, a runaway truck. But anyway, that was another. So now,
yes,
we get to number 2. Now, when it comes to number 2, we're a little biased on this.
We have a lot of experience with number 2.
Yeah, too much experience. Number 2 would be...
to avoid it, yes.
Yeah, would be Interstate 95 through the Virginia, D.C., Maryland area.
Terrible.
Just terrible. Just terrible. It's not a good section.
Not good.
This is one of those roads that if you're traveling north, coming up out of Carolinas and Virginia, once you get to Fredericksburg, from Fredericksburg, going around the Capital Beltway into Maryland, on up to PA, depending on the time of day you hit it, and that's almost every time of day, you're going to run into problems and issues. Now, you can get there and it may look all clear, but sooner or later, something probably going to happen.
And when I'm saying like problems, we're looking at hours. You're not looking at like 1 hour. It's 3, 4, 5 hours. You can be stuck in that traffic. I would suggest if you're coming northbound, go into Carolinas, get yourself some fuel gas before you get into Fredericksburg, just in case something happens, because 9 times out of 10, it's going to. And you don't want to be stuck there and run out of gas.
And coming south, if you're coming out of Philly or if you're coming out of Maryland, you want to make sure you get around the Capital Beltway. Try to get around all of that before 5 in the morning, and you'll usually be okay based on my experience. I worked in that area for 35 years, and I'm going to tell you, it's a stressful area. There are other alternatives. You can, if you want to, you can go farther out west and take 81. In some cases, that's what I'll do if I know I'm going south, especially to the Carolinas. I'll just jump on 81 and go down 81 and bypass it altogether. It's not worth it, but it's one of those stretches of highways that for the most part, no matter what time of day you're there, it's got problems and it's got issues no matter what they do and no matter how many improvements. And, by the way, Maryland drivers are some of the worst drivers around. And I can say that because I'm from Maryland.
Are you speaking from experience?
From experience dealing with other Maryland drivers.
Sure.
Not me. Now, we get into number 1 on the list.
Okay.
And we hear about this a lot as RVers. This is like the granddaddy of them all.
This scared us so bad, or scared me at least, last year when we were thinking about doing this ourselves.
Right. And this is a special trip. This is the granddaddy of them all.
Right.
And that is the Alcan or Alaska Highway.
That's right.
You hear these horror stories about how bad it is. It's terrible. All the damage and the tough roads and all the frost heaves. All that stuff, and you hear like this is the worst road in America.
It scared us so much that we didn't want to take our Class A. We bought a smaller Class C. If you guys haven't watched the videos, we got a smaller one to take up there just because of all the content out there and how scary it was.
Yeah, we heard the stories for years. So we've been following RV content for years, and we heard these things, and we were like, man, we cannot take a chance and have our rig damaged by these roads. Because
it's not worth it.
But guess what?
It didn't happen.
It's not that bad. That's right. We did a little switcheroo on you. It is not that bad. The vast majority of the road is just fine.
If you go
it's
slow,
not a problem.
It's fine.
Well, no, look, it's not.
That's true.
The thing about it is, it's not an interstate road, and it's not even a secondary road. It's just a decent road. In many places, there are no markers, there's no shoulders, but it's in really decent shape. So you could drive along at 60 miles per hour and you're okay. It's just that when you get to the bad sections, you close down. So I guess what we're saying is, it's got the perception of being a terrible road. And a lot of that is because content creators will exaggerate just how bad the road is.
Shame on you.
So they want you guys to think this is this terrible, horrible road. Don't go up to Alaska. If you do, you're going to get all this damage. Come to find out, I'd say 85-90% of the roads up there are just fine.
Yeah, and they're mostly paved roads. There are some gravel, but it's more paved than it's not. And it's more just nice, flat, even surfaces.
And when you find out that when you get up there, there are plenty of large Class A's and large fifth wheels that make the journey, and they've had no major issues. And some of the issues you get would be dinks and things that you would get on any other road in the lower 48.
Like from rocks and things like that.
There's a perception it's a bad road, it's a horrible road, but we're here to tell you it's really not.
Not in our experience anyway.
It's just not a bad road whatsoever. So that's our top 5.
Top 5.
That's our top 5 list of the worst roads for RVers. Now, if you guys disagree, or if you want to add something to the list, leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think. Maybe you were on the Alaska Highway and you did have a bad experience.
Yeah, it's possible. Or maybe you actually went up the Eastern Corridor up here in the Virginia, Maryland area and it was a breeze and didn't have any traffic. I doubt it, but maybe you did.
Be sure to leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think. We want as much input on this as possible, because this is one of those things that obviously it's very arbitrary based on your RVer and your travels around the United States.
Yeah.
I think what we should do moving forward is try to do a whole list of the worst roads, and we should purposely go on them and travel them just to see what happens.
I don't like that idea.
Let's push it.
I don't like that idea.
If you guys like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If this is your first time to the channel, if you like what you saw, please consider subscribing to the channel. As we like to say here, any day you can get away.
It's a great day, guys.
You guys take care. See you.
See ya.